Why is the intra-diegetic and direct gaze in media so subtly effective in storytelling? Within media, the subtle gaze of a character can tell a story more than 1,000 words. A character's instant reaction provides insight into their thoughts, emotions, and personality, which communicates dynamics between the characters, if not in multiple involved within a scene. This is called the intra-diegetic gaze, the character's gaze of a person, object, or animal within the diegetic world. In some media forms, this can coincide with the direct gaze, looking at the camera within the diegetic world. For example, in media like found footage films, mockumentaries, or even home videos, the camera is within the diegetic universe, allowing the characters to interact with it and the human behind it filming. This video will be exploring how and why this is so effective in storytelling, including cases of intra-diegetic gaze and its relationship with the direct gaze in addition to the variety of gazes within itself. But first, to understand the gaze, we must understand the psychology behind it. Neurologist Sigmund Freud pioneered much research into psychoanalysis and the relation between one's unconscious mind and actions. His simplified proposition, repressed memories and desires influence behavioural and emotional states. Despite his name becoming quite infamous, his theories are still somewhat the baseline of psychological understanding today. For example, Freud focused on the sexual drives that occur during infancy and early childhood, but Erikson believed that early stages of life has its own drive. As shown, views can vary, so understanding the key elements of psychoanalysis is critical. So what does the gaze generally mean? The gaze notions to the action of one viewing another, typically known best for the popularization of the term male gaze coined by Laura Mulvey in 1975, where the unconscious of patriarchal society has structured film form, referring to men's power and portrayal of subjects involving women to the male audience, applying Freud's understanding to cinema. W.J.T. Mitchell believed there are three viewpoints referring to the gaze: the idol, authority and worship, fetish, erotic and private, and totem, communal and symbolic. Overall, the gaze is commonly attributed to an audience looking at a character within the piece of media, often fetishized by the voyeuristic nature of how the character is presented. However, the term is not limited to the stereotype. Creep 2, from 2017, follows Aaron, a serial killer who's aware of his glory days are over, and Sarah is a struggling content creator who focuses a series around odd requests online. The viewer sees the lens through Sarah's experience as she documents her time with Aaron, which is something he does frequently to attract victims so he can watch back the videos post-murder. A key example I'd like to mention is about halfway through the film. Aaron has thrown a tantrum and Sarah checks on him. He is sat in a hot tub with the same song on repeat. His face is emotionless. He then explains his experience of being groomed, kidnapped, and left for dead, where he manages to kill his attacker, and experiencing the thrill of the kill, which is what drives him to murder people. Typically, one discussing trauma would be upset, signs like crying, unable to look another in the eye, or trembling. However, there is none of this. His defeated gaze implicates the mental illness, his loss of love for a sociopathic passion. Through using the found footage style of media, he looks directly at the camera often, using direct gaze to the advantage of reversing the dynamic of power against the viewer despite never breaking the fourth wall intentionally. The audience gets an exclusive first-person view of what Sarah is experiencing, and in doing so achieves an internal level of fear as if they were in her place due to the unfamiliar nature of his gaze. Despite her relentless attitude for perseverance, the audience becomes more and more concerned of what may happen to her. One could argue that found footage as a genre in itself allows for this type of reaction due to its immersive nature. However, I argue back that horror genre within found footage uses the unsettling reactions and characters' gaze to the camera to its advantage. A more light-hearted and recognisable example of the use of these techniques is The Office from 2005 to 30. Inspired by the British original, The Office US sets place in Scranton, Pennsylvania and Dunder Mifflin Paper Company, following its employees and their antics. Contrast to Group 2, The Office uses intra-diegetic and direct gaze for a liable comedic effect, an awkward intra-diegetic gaze between co-workers to a direct gaze at the camera as a shared joke or reaction with the audience. The character Jim is the most consistent with using the direct gaze after the intra-diegetic, often smirking or awkwardly smiling, which allows the viewer to understand he is level-headed and aware, which makes aligning with him easier. Furthermore, intra-diegetic reactions are often followed by individual interviews to let the character be more genuine and vocal. Their linked emotions within the gaze to the subject can either reinforce their traits or complicate them even more. Their awareness of the camera allows the audience to forget they are watching a performance, but rather acting like a fly on the wall. One can observe yet not speak, exchange glances, which challenges the idea of the gaze by turning it around to the viewer. The Office enables the act of looking to actively involve the audience as much as they can. However, oftentimes the direct gaze and acknowledgements of the camera become repetitive and predictable, which inevitably relies on storyline and the character's personality. Despite this, regardless of its reliant nature, smart writing enables there to always be something new for the audience to laugh at. The show's diverse and large cast dynamics opens up forms of gazes between characters, which I will briefly list off.
Is there a term besides Mexican that you prefer? Something less offensive?
Mexican isn't offensive.
Well, it has certain connotations.
Like what?
Like, I don't know.
Do you like some googie googie? Oh, I have some very delicious googie googie. Only 99 cents plus tax. Try my googie googie. Try my googie googie. Try my googie googie. Try my...
Okay. Jan? We need to talk.
I'd really rather not.
Come here,
I'd really
friend.
rather not.
You're my friend.
No! No! I don't want to touch you. Ever considered that? You're ignorant and insulting and small.
Okay. All right.
Each of these examples are reacted to by someone, whether it's intra-diegetic or direct, once again showing how they feel relating to said comments. The intra-diegetic gaze in media allows the viewer to read emotions through understanding the fundamentals of psychoanalysis drawn from experiences, or lack of, the viewer has faced themselves. The direct gaze then enhances this with immersion through characters looking at the camera, thus engaging eye contact with viewers to give them a sense of inclusion. These gazes bring the two most contrasting genres together through emotion and expression, through getting to know the characters as if you were there.